Hello and welcome to SuperCoach Edge for the round 2 review. And you may have noticed as well a bit of a return to the old intro track there. So it was backed by popular demand, and Jack Black with his little saxo, what's it called? The saxo beat, I think, or something it's called. That's been relegated to the outro. Maybe we'll see how we go, because the reason that we took it away and switched it was because of copyright issues. So we'll see how we go with this. Otherwise, it's maybe a fleeting return. But on to this week, and I mean, round 2, much like last week, there was a bit of carnage to kick off the round, with Gawn delivering owners a donut, and unfortunately not of the hot jam variety after he went down with injury. Steele was yet another premo to go down with injury, fracturing his collarbone, yet he once again played out the game like he did when he previously did a similar injury last year, I think it was. So I reckon the bloke deserves a purple star just for courage. That's absolutely insane. I don't know if you've seen the x-ray, but it's literally shattered. Like the whole bone's shattered in like 3 parts. Insane. But then we had young superstar Nick Daicos put on an absolute clinic, leaving non-owners sitting in a corner like jealous kids watching as others play with the shiny new toy they now want. And they're breaking piggy banks and scrambling up any loose change that's fallen behind the couch to try and afford him. It's happening now. The hysteria is high on Twitter. And what if Will Setterfield, who put in another monster performance? Plus, we are on the cusp of price changes. All that and more in today's episode as I welcome in Liam. There's a wee bit to digest this ep.
Yes, there is. There's quite a lot going on. Lots of price changes. lots of shiny toys that I want to get into my team.
Bit like that.
Very happy with the Will Setterfield pick, 147. Thank you very much. Probably the only shining light in my team this week. But
the one shiny new toy that you've got.
The one shiny toy I've got. Yes, but let's get into it. But before we do, let's share the social channels so you can keep up with us and the latest news, post-match SuperCoach scores, and the odd meme or two. And you can do so via Twitter with @SuperCoach_Edge, Damon at DamonJ88, myself at @LiamEvans_95, Facebook, Insta, and TikTok. Just search SuperCoach Edge, and that's where you'll find us. Now, this is a pretty important episode before price changes kick in. So it is fair to say we have a few options to discuss. But before we do so, let's kick it off with a look at some of the highlights, the lowlights, and everything in between in this round for in the good, the bad, and the ugly. In the good, the bad, and the ugly, for those of you who are new to the show, we roll through some of the notable and some of the more forgettable performances across this round of SuperCoach. And we touch on how our own teams performed in our head-to-head rivalry as we wrestle for ultimate supremacy.
Very nice. Well, let's kick it off, shall we, with, as we always do, just start on a high. So let's start with the good. And it's probably fair to say who it's going to be. Laird. Rory squared Laird. He has to take the full honours here. Posting a mammoth 147 after posting just a paltry, 50 last week. Took the week off, bit of an RDO, or he pretty much left mid-shift, I reckon. He just walked off the field. He virtually could have done that because that's all he played was half a game. And fair to say that he made all those coaches who traded him feel sorry for doing so. And as we said in last week's potty, he was a firm for good reason. So we did, and we're happy owners, I guess, just seeing him through. So got to ride the highs, got to ride the lows, and we did so. So that was a very nice, enjoyable roller coaster. So thank you, Rory Laird.
Yes, and just eerily similar to last year. So he started in round 3 last year, scored 93. So that was the only time he didn't score above 100 for the year. Oh, no, sorry. He did it one more time in round 22 where he scored 97. But then went 143 the next week. So, I mean, he went 50 to 147. So very similar. So hopefully we can see lots and lots of tons for Rory Laird for the rest of the year. But let's move on to the bad. And the bad for most of us was Doherty, who disappointed. Wasn't the only one, but one that we will highlight with with a score of just 74 in a win against the Cats. His kick-in rate dropped off from 40% down to 20%. but hasn't ever really been a high scorer against Geelong, averaging just 91. So, I don't think there's too many things to worry about. I'm definitely not worried, and he's not making his way to my side. But as we saw with Laird, keepers and primos are allowed some off games, and this is no different. So hold on to him, please.
Yep, he's another hold. Yeah, he's an absolute gun. So do not think about trading him out.
No, and I see that he's been traded out of 3.5% of teams already.
Come on, folks. They're obviously not listening to SuperCoach Edge. You should be listening to us and watching us on YouTube. We impart you with all this, we say like gems of wisdom, but really it should just be common sense. Anyway, let's move on to the ugly.
Yes.
And yeah, it's probably a bit harsh to name Gawn here. And yes, rightfully so it is, because injuries can't be blamed. So unfortunate for those owners there. But I think in terms of overall impact, alongside expectation and price point, Hodor takes the cake here. And he most likely gobbles it up too, knowing Hodor, just by the looks of him. He loves a cake. What do you reckon? Do you reckon he loves a bit of a Woolies cake? Chocolate cake? It doesn't go astray though.
No, it doesn't go astray. Just a good cake.
How many do you reckon he can? How many do you reckon he can smash in a sitting?
I don't know. I'm going to be honest.
By the look of him, I reckon he could smash at least a couple pre-game. That's what I reckon he probably did on the weekend, because 41 points is all he posted. From a supposed keeper, it just isn't good enough. So instead of Hodor, I reckon he might just see himself out that very same door, on the other side of the door. Absolutely putrid. But that's probably a nice little segue in terms of talking about my own team. And I actually posted, on a positive note, 300 plus points more than the previous week's score. So I can't complain too much from the get-go. Ended up scoring 2,200 on the dot, and I love round numbers. So that was perfect. I think it was 2,202, and then got scaled down, and I was like, damn it. I'm like,
that's
bad.
nice.
Actually,
that's nice.
I don't mind it. In terms of ranking, so I actually went up 28K. So I'm making steady progress, and you're thinking, oh, wow, you must be in first place given that. No, unfortunately not. Not yet. I'm ranked 47,491. So, what's that? A third of the way through almost.
2 more weeks and you'll be minus, I don't know, 1,000 or something.
Exactly. I'll be so above everyone else that I'll just be off the charts. So look out for that. But in terms of trades that I made, it absolutely gave me no greater pleasure punting I think it was Jonas Goat, one of our avid listeners / watchers on YouTube. He commented on YouTube, and I love this. He called it a mid-Fife crisis, and that's virtually what I was in. So it gave me no greater pleasure punting that man Fife as it was, but to then have his replacement in Jay-Z deliver a 123 almost made it worthwhile, enduring the joke that it was with having Fife for a single week to allow for that said trade. So I bid you adieu, Fife, and never go into my team again until 2024. Maybe we might rekindle our romance again for the 6th time. Anyway, I also punted Flanders early for Philippou, as I had seen enough of his unsexy ways. And like I mentioned on Twitter, he's more stupid, less sexy, unfortunately. And conversely, love what I saw of Philippou in terms of job security and scoring potential. So he was the other trade-in. And in terms of this week, I will most likely be targeting Chandler as the one must-have cash cow that I did miss, and am forced to use a trade on the Purple Heart Soldier, unfortunately, in Steele. We both love him. He soldiered on manfully. But again, much like last year, I have to bid him farewell as well, unfortunately. So undecided what I do here. But I must say LDU looks like a tasty breakout option. And it's going to be interesting because I must admit, in my first team that I put together, he was sitting alongside Tom Green. And it's virtually gone full circle. So I could end up in that same spot again. Otherwise, there is another guy that you have, former Blue, New Don, going well. Nice little stepping stone, juicy option that you spoke of. Liam, but I hand the baton over to you. How did you fare?
Yeah, not well. I scored 60 points under you. No, sorry, not 60 points. 80 points under you. No, 60 points. Sorry, I don't 60, know.
Yeah,
what I'm doing. It's been a long day. A score of 2,140. My ranking is still 50,878 overall, but I did go up 3,129 spots, which to be honest, not good enough. But upwards is better than the other way. So
exactly.
I'm happy enough, I guess, knowing that, and knowing that I had we'll touch on it in a second. Yes, not happy overall with my score, to be honest, but it's a strange feeling. I think I've seen a few people say this. They're looking at their team and just not really sure from a personnel perspective, not necessarily from the scoring, why they are ranked where they are. And I feel like that's a little bit how I feel. Like I'm not seeing any glaring holes, I want to say, in my side. But I am seeing holes in scoring, which is annoying. I think I'm just seeing a lot of poor individual scores. And just looking at my backline this week, the highest score I had in my backline was 78. So just big issues there. Big issue there. Wow. But I mean, I did have Setterfield with 147. So that was nice. That was very, very nice.
Set forget a field.
Yes, set and forget it. Yep. I only made the one trade this week though. I had Stuart obviously, so he made way, and I brought in Ridley. So true to form, the Riddler decided to pump out a subpar score as a homage to my season-long ownership last year. So I apologize to all owners because it was me. But let's look ahead. Let's leave last week behind us and let's look ahead. I'll be activating a boost and may break my own rules and trade out some primos.
No, fair. It's fair though. It's fair.
Look, on the block this week, potentially, is Jack McRae. The concern I have with him is just the role, and Bevo. Bevo is really the issue. He's the ugly, not Jack McRae. And potentially a Darcy, but it'll come down to, we'll chat about Darcy a little bit, I think a little bit later. But yes, those two are on the block for me at this stage. Now let's have a look at our head-to-heads early on in the season, Damon. One win apiece, but you've made some headway. Yes,
I've taken the honours this week, and like I said earlier, it's amazing what 1 week of being fifeless can do for you. Being fifeless in your life, it's a great thing to experience. Yeah. And I level our head-to-head and take the lead in our points differential. So obviously both 1 win apiece, and I have skewed that differential now. So in my favour, plus 13. And I imagine it's going to be close for the rest of the season, as it was last year even, I think. Even though the wins were getting away from you, the differential's not too bad. It's always relatively close.
Yeah.
I think we're reading each other's notes or something. Maybe it's like we almost do a podcast together or something.
Yeah, no, it's like we always have similar advice. Yeah. Very, very good though, David. Very good. Picked up back. Not even a Setterfield 147 could get me on top. But anyway, let's move on. With price changes coming into effect after this weekend, it's important that we delve into all things trades in The Price is Right.
Show me the money. Oh! Does that make you feel good just to say that? What you gonna do, Derek? Show me the money!
Yes, and for those tuning in for the first time, The Price is Right is the segment where we discuss potential trades and trade targets from week to week, or whether a specific player under question should be even traded at all. So we're going to kick it off by chatting about, firstly, the all-important cash cows. So those on the bubble, as it's known as the term in the circles. And those cash cows are formerly known as rookies. So try not to be blinded by the shiny mid-prices first up, as it's these cash cows that will be making the cash to allow you to upgrade those mid-prices to the primo. So it's a bit of a catch-22 almost in a sense. So whilst it's good to get in the mid-prices, first and foremost, get the cash cows in because it kind of like bridge the gap there to help you level up your team, I guess. And given there are so many cash cows / rookies, we'll bunch them into groups of must-haves, nice to have, and avoid, and chat through our rating of them in terms of job security, scoring potential, and cash generation potential. So, Liam, do you want to kick us off with the must-haves? We're putting brackets here, those with solid job security and scoring potential.
Yes, let's kick off. And the first one we have is Harry Sheasel, priced at 198.3k, scores of 114 and 114. Wow. Very consistent, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And a break even of minus 160.
Whoa! Lordy.
Whoa.
That's a classic.
I don't even think we need to say anything. If you haven't got him, get him in. Bloke speaks for himself. He's a dynamo of halfback for Clarko, and he will be, at this stage, the cash cow of the season. minus 116. I don't even know what is he projected to make next week.
He's projected to make 83K if he scores 67.
Yeah, so
according to SuperCoach Plus.
That's pretty decent. Pretty decent, if you ask me.
So it's fair to say he's going to make us beyond the 150K that we're all hoping for with all these rookies. So who knows? Imagine if he turns out to be a keeper. That's without getting too sidetracked. That'd be amazing. It'd be like virtually like a Mickey Barlow of years gone by, just in terms of first year players. But his ownership went up 30K between round 1 and round 2, and he's now owned by dinner for two. Classic, 69%. So if you're a part of that 31%, get him in your team. Don't stuff around. Another guy who you shouldn't stuff around with, and it'll be surprising if you don't have him, is Jinby of West Coast, and he's priced at 171.3K. His last two, he scored 85 and a 76, so quite solid on field, which a lot of people who own him will be doing. And his break-even is negative 64, so he's already in 71% of teams. So probably preaching to the choir here, and has solid job security and scoring. And don't second-guess yourself. If you don't have him, get him in.
Yep, and with a projected score of 51, he is projected to go up 52.1K next week. So... nice. Again, very, very nice. Now, the next guy, could he be any more of a cash cow? It is, I don't even know his first name. It's just Chandler. That's all we need to know him as.
Cade? We'll say Cade.
No, just Chandler. I'm happy with just Chandler.
just Chandler from Friends? Maybe?
Yeah, from Friends.
I mean, name one famous person named Chandler. Raymond Chandler. Someone you didn't make up.
Chandler Bong. Anyway, moving on. He is 123.9K. He has scored 93 and 71 in his last two with a break even of minus 94.
Wowzers.
Oh.
Now just to give you the numbers,
yep.
Negative 94. If he scores 37 this week, he'll go up 59.3K. Nice.
Questions. I think they probably still ask some questions over his job security, but I think they've lessened quite a bit now, as he kept his spot with Fritsch returning to the side. The only concern I guess we have is, what's his name? Pickett would also be out, may see him moving on, but I think we should hopefully be able to hold his spot. He is a mature ager, and having been on the D's list for 5 years now and played just a handful of games, albeit as the sub in recent years, I think we're finally seeing sort of his scoring ability. Doesn't have to rely on goals to score well with his work as a pressure forward. And he has the highest break even behind Sheasel of all these cash cows, and will make 150K easily, you would assume.
Absolutely. And just quickly as well with Cozzy Pickett, he has been getting a little bit of mid-time, at least 24% over the previous two, for round 1, I should say, but over the preseason as well, he was experimented in the midfield. So it does give him a little bit more security as well. But nonetheless, jump on him because he's going to make us 150K very easily, like you said, and very quickly, hopefully, as well.
Yeah.
Moving on to this man who you're familiar with, Liam, Connor McKenna, former Don. He's priced at 167.5K. In his last two, he scored 93 and 78. And he has a break-even of negative 76, so quite juicy. And he's bringing much of what we liked when he was at the Dons, run, carry, and just bulk points all around. So he's going to make us bulk cash and be a reliable on-field scorer as well. So if you don't have him and you're lacking for some points in defense, get him in. Get him in because he's going to make you bulk cash, bulk points, and can't go wrong with that.
Again, with a projected score of 62, he's going to make 62.7K next round as projection, which you think he should. Also coming up against the Western Bulldogs, just quickly, who do give away quite a lot of points to defenders. So there should be some good points coming up.
Nice.
Moving on to our next option, and it is Will Ashcroft, 202.8K, 55 and a 105 with a break even of a minus 45. He is already in 79% of teams. So once again, we should be preaching to the choir here, but if you're one of those 21% of teams that don't have him, just change that. Change that, get him in. He is going to make decent cash. He's got amazing job security. Need nothing else to say. Nothing else to say.
Yep, exactly. If he scores 54 on the weekend, he will make 45K, and 54 the next week will give him another 34.5K. So he's well on his way to making that 150K that we require. So get him in, and you could probably hold him for longer. He could be, again, like Daicos of last season. So super juicy option there. The other juicy option, which a lot of people already have, is Darcy Wilmot from the Lions, also priced at 123.9K. In his last two, he scored 51 and 68, and he has a negative break-even of negative 49. Reliable lookie and suitable cover if needed in defence as well, which is always handy. His disposal efficiency percentage can let him down at times, but will stick around the Lions side and make us a Muller.
Yes.
Muller, another one.
Yes. Another one, and projected to make 39K with a score of 37 on the weekend. So
Yeah.
should be good. It should be good. And yeah, after that, should make it up to 186.4K. If he again scores another, but it was at 37, I think I said. Yeah. So pretty good cash making ability there. Now let's move on to the nice to haves. And these are players who either their role may limit their scoring, or they have just shaky job security. So we'll kick off with Caminiti.
Caminiti?
Yeah,
I've been practicing in front of the mirror. Caminiti.
Thank you. I needed to do that. Coming in at bargain basement price, 102.4K. Scored 34 and 73 in his last two with a break even of minus 49. Now, he has been a nice fill-in for the Saints with the absence of King, Hayes, and Membry, and just, I guess, anyone in their team.
Sole option.
With none of them a hope of returning for the next 6 weeks at a minimum, his job security should be fine until then. But beyond that, who knows? The issue, I think, with him, as well as just obviously being a key forward, his deviation between his first two scores is what you're going to expect. It's going to give an idea of why he'll be a slow burn as a cash cow. But because he is 102.4K, he's going to make cash. He doesn't need high scores to make a lot of cash.
Yep, exactly right. So if you already have him, you're onto a good thing. But if you don't have him, and you probably need a little bit of cash, like if you did an extra
it's not a bad option,
21K or thereabouts, like instead of going for a 123.9K option, you could potentially go for him. But if you're choosing between him and say Chandler, for example, for those inexperienced coaches out there, 100% go for Chandler because of that negative break even, that lower break even. With Chandler, negative 94, he's going to make you so much more money compared to Caminiti. But again, talking about job security, that's another reason Caminiti is one to be wary of longer term. But the next option that we have is Charlie Constable. He's priced at 123.9K. I said that like
Bond. James Bond.
Yeah.
123.9K. His last two, he scored 56 and 67 and has a break even of negative 53. So whilst he's already in 68% of teams, if you don't own him, he isn't really one to drop everything to get. The return of Weller saw his kick-ins halved on the weekend, with Weller taking the most. And likewise, his disposals dropped. So his output rose, which is quite weird to say, off the back of a better disposal efficiency percentage, however, that held him back in week one. But that is a sticking point limiting his output. Likewise, the return of Will Powell, who is actually listed as a test for this weekend, could also jeopardise not just his output further, but his overall role in the side. So we spoke of previous weeks, even across the preseason, of this worry rearing its head. And there is potentially, maybe he gets moved back into the midfield, but again, they're quite stacked, the Suns. Could he play a wing role? Maybe. Other than that, he could just find himself out of the side, which is quite worrying, with a lot of us having Constable as like our D6. So it means you may have to rely on bench cover in the form of Wilmot or a Cowan, or think about maybe upgrading him, if he does find himself out of the side this weekend, next week, to another option like a Crozier, a Bose maybe. But we can talk about that down the track. But just something to flag. So if you don't have him, wouldn't be rushing out to get him.
No,
at the
agreed.
moment. Yeah.
Agreed. I don't think I think owners shouldn't be too concerned. I don't think it's a trade out option. I think Ballard is facing a 1 week suspension off memory. So
yeah, true.
Should save him at least for a week. They're also playing, I think it's Orland.
Yep.
as
True.
well.
Yep.
So that might also save him. He might be on the block before Constable at this stage. But again, it's hard to know. Especially with the way the Suns are performing at the minute. Moving on to the next option, and it is Ned Long, West Coast small forward. Priced at 117.3k. He has been very consistent with scores of 63 and 62 in his last 2 games, and a break even of -59. And as a young small forward, he has scored well enough across his first 2 games, considering he has only kicked to the 1 goal in total, but has been helped by his high disposal efficiency of 80%, and 100% along with his tackles. And has, however, struggled for game time with just 67% and 75%, which will limit his output. It's just not a super. It's not a role that I think lends itself to good SuperCoach scoring as a young small forward. Probably has decent enough job security ish.
Yep.
But not enough scoring potential, I don't think. I think, again, if you're looking at him versus a Chandler's who you should be going for.
Yep.
And again, I think if you're looking at him and a Caminiti.
Yes, nailed it. You've nailed it.
There we go. Learning on the spot. I would actually go for him because he's lower priced and probably has a similar scoring trajectory.
Yep. Yeah, spot on. Exactly.
And
right.
better job security, I think.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So that's, I don't know if we haven't really put these in order here, but like,
No.
We'll backtrack if there's any players that you want to compare. And likewise as well, like if you have any confusion and would like some sort of guidance, feel free to hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, all that sort of stuff. And we're happy to clarify. But yeah, hopefully as we're rolling through, this sort of becomes a little bit clear when we're talking through them. Let's move on to Mateus Philippou, who's priced at 166.8k. His last 2 scored 76 and 59 with a break even now of -40. So the exciting Saint has looked impressive thus far, playing in the forward line, and he's kicked 4 goals across the first 2 rounds. Pleasingly, his time on ground has increased from 74% to 80%, and being a crowd favourite, and I think from what I can gather anyway, the coaches, especially Ross the Boss, likes him as well. Super solid job security, but the only caveat is his scoring could fluctuate due to his role, but will make us bulk cash nonetheless. So very similar to Caminiti. You'd think he's got better job security of the 2, but I think, and maybe he's scoring ceiling because I think he's just more well-rounded, talented player, I think, comparing the 2. But yeah, again, don't expect the world. His scores will fluctuate. He may even have games that are less than what he scored thus far. But yeah, so far so good.
Yep, agreed. I've got him in. I've had him in. He's probably a tough one to get in at 166.8k in the forward line. But I like him. Got the DPP status as well, which is super handy.
Yeah.
Moving on to Bloke from your mob, Ollie Hollands. 162.3k, scored 64 and 71 in his last 2 with a break even of -35. And Hollands has impressed not only with his work across the ring, but also his pressure off the ball. He had a season high, I guess career high, 2 games, 20 disposals on the weekend. And the fact he is starting ahead of Lockie O'Brien on the wing and relegated him to the sub does speak volumes. Could, however, find himself unlucky once Walsh returns in round 4 and 5. So probably that's his biggest issue, is his job security longer term. So might not be an issue next week, but it could be an issue the week after or the week after that.
Yep. Yeah, totally agree. The one thing with him is that I've been impressed with, especially on the weekend against the Cats. Like, he's just like second, third efforts. He's got the work rate, not I'm going to say in the same wheelhouse as Nick Daicos, because he's out of this world. But for a youngster anyway, he's just showing that tenacity that you want to see at senior level. So I reckon the coaches would absolutely love to see it, and makes up for any sort of deficiency that he's got in his game at the moment, which, can come in the form of his disposal efficiency at times. But again, he's 2 games into his career. But yeah, he is, being a youngster, could be one to find himself on the outer when Walsh returns, as you said. But let's move on to Owen Davey Jr. from your mob, priced at 117.3k. And in his last 2, he scored 58 and 45, and he has a break-even of -37. And he's looked quite good in his first 2 games playing as a forward predominantly. But this does mean, however, his scoring will fluctuate from week to week. Likewise, similar to, as we said with Long from West Coast, Unless he pushes up the ground more, Liam, you probably be able to speak to this more than what I can. But in terms of job security, you think it's super solid? Is there anyone that could push him out?
No, not off the top of my. I mean, I don't think there's anyone ahead of him in terms of that role. That I would want to play over him. I think he's pretty safe. I think he's pretty safe. I think his pressure role as well should help him score relatively well. But I think you're right. There's going to be fluctuations. He's on my bench and he's never going to be relied on as a scorer. And I think you're right in the sense that he's got job security, but his scoring potential probably is the thing that lacks there. And that probably puts him in this second category of nice to haves, I guess.
Yeah.
Moving on to his teammate, Jai Menzie, 154.2k, scores of 68 and 58 in his last two with a break-even of -39. And he has kicked 4 goals in his 2 games and shown the ability to also push up the ground as a bit of a high forward, expanding his opportunity for the ball and in turn his scoring output. Similar to Davey, I think he's probably, I don't know, it's hard to say. I'd probably have Davey ahead of Menzie, but I like them both. I think the way that Essendon is playing, I think they're both pretty safe. That's all I really have to say at this stage. I mean, the only issue I think I'm looking at coming in is probably you've got Stringer to return and you've got Welfie who played as the sub, and you've obviously got Tip and Woody as well, but he missed with soreness. But I think Tip and Woody's probably still not entirely match fit. So yeah, again, looking towards the future, I'd be probably thinking you'd be looking at a Davey or a Menzie, or putting both of those two in the side.
It's quite funny as well, must admit, with Tipper being match sore after being the sub.
Yeah.
You reckon it was that goal that he kicked, that goal from 50? Just did him over?
Yeah, I reckon.
Well, at least they're being sensible with him, like in terms of expectations. Yeah. Like he's, I don't know in terms of ownership what Tipper looks like, but I imagine there's not too many people out there that do own him. 1% of teams. So
that's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yep. It might be. No, he can't really be a downgrade option because he's too expensive. 209.6. Scrap that thought. But let's move on to the last option here in this category, and it is, I think his first name is Jack Buckley potentially. Let's have a quick look. Yes, Jack Buckley.
Yeah.
Just to iron that out, so we have it fresh in our minds for next time when we mention him. From the Giants. Yeah, maybe never. But however, he's actually scored quite well.
Yeah,
he got under the radar. On my little bit of research, I was like, who is this bloke? How's he scored so well? So he's priced at 205k. Very awkward as a defender. And in his last two, he scored 88 and 99 with a break even of -59. So in 2021, he played 14 games and averaged 66, but failed to play a game in 2022 due to injury. He was a late in round one, but impressed playing off halfback. But as a key position player, you'd expect his scoring again to fluctuate from week to week despite his solid start, and no assurance of his long-term job security given he was virtually a replacement, a late in round one. So hard to really gauge what his job security is going to be like longer term, whose role he's sort of filling in for. But yeah, nonetheless, I think he's scoring well enough as it is with a -59. If you are, I mean, we've got a few options there in defence anyway. A lot of people would already have Wilmot, Constable, McKenna, Ginby.
His issue is probably his price. Like,
you'd have to awkward.
Like even downgrading a Jones to him, you're only going to make what, 13k. Like it's not really, and you probably got less job security with Jones over Buckley.
You'd probably opt to go for, I think anyway, if I was in the seat of someone that is looking for a rookie around about that price, I would opt to pay an extra 13k and go for Hayden Crozier, who we won't speak about this week because he's obviously only played the one game. We'll speak about him more next week, but he's already got a negative break-even of -12, and he scored 96 on the weekend in what looked to be quite a favourable role that he had over the preseason. So look towards that, I think, if anything. Another player who we haven't added in here, but I'll just quickly mention on the fly. Look at this.
I was
Geez,
literally just getting your stats up.
we're channeling the same.
That was.
It's like we're sharing the same heart, as
That
they
was
say in the
amazing.
40-year-old virgin.
Our souls were connected in this way. I can't describe it. Time stood still. It was like we were sharing the same heart.
Stop, man. Why do you always come and kill the vibe with those things? Sharing the same heart. That's like some Britney Spears shit, man. This is 3 grown ass men. Don't nobody want to hear that shit.
Yeah, man, come on. Nobody wants to hear that shit.
So Josh Bruce is priced at 161.2k.
Yes.
He is flexible as a forward, but will get the defensive DPP come round 60. You'd think negative break even of negative 33 at the moment. He scored a 50 and a 74. So not bad. Not bad at the moment. He's kind of, he's alongside Jones, I reckon. Me and Mrs. Jones.
Is again, I think that 160 is a difficult price.
Yeah.
Like it's another difficult price. I mean, we're talking about Philippou. You could downgrade a Flanders to him potentially. Probably
true.
not one that I'd trust on field necessarily, but he is scoring better than Flanders, I guess.
Yep.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. But I think a decent option, but I think still sits in this category because he's got probably does have the job security, or better job security, but probably doesn't have enough of a scoring potential. And that awkward price makes it hard. Not awkward, just the 160k kind of makes it hard to get him in if you're looking at someone else.
Yeah, totally agree there.
Now let's move on to the last category, and these are the avoids. Their scoring is inconsistent, their job security is shaky, and they're just probably not great picks. And we've only unfortunately got one player in this category at this stage, and that is Campbell Chesser, who is priced at 123.9k. He is defensive and midfield eligible, and he has two scores of 20 and 27 and a break even of 23, which is not great. He was highly touted and looks to be struggling for fitness after returning from a 2022 injury layoff, underlined by the fact that his time on ground in round 1 was just 69% and was then subbed out of the game on the weekend with just 55%. So there's no guarantees that Chesser plays this weekend or on the short term for that matter. And if he continues being subbed or is named as the sub, as he starts the sub, his cash generation will absolutely crash. It's an easy sideways trade to a Chandler if you have a DPP trade swing or another rookie if you need to. Yeah, it's not looking good for Campbell Chesser at this stage.
Yeah, exactly. If he doesn't play on the weekend, he could potentially be a bit of a loophole option, maybe, if you can afford to keep him. But I would opt to trade him. Yeah, I would opt to trade him now before prices change next week. That's probably more important.
Yeah, I think if you're also running with a Madden, I think it's Nick Madden, the GWS forward ruck, I would really urge against having another non-playing player as a loophole option.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's worth it. It's just going to affect your cash gen. And that's what this is about. And that's why we're talking about the rookies first, because you really need to be focusing on getting those right rookies so you're making the cash for later on in the season.
Absolutely. And I've noticed as well, sorry, Liam, that we've actually forgotten, just to backtrack back into the previous category. We have Mackenzie of the Hawks as well. I think that's probably a given. A lot of people already have him priced at 180.3k in 60% of teams. There we go. So he scored quite well, 93 in round 1. I only scored the 52 on the weekend, and it was contributed to the fact that his CBA has actually dropped from 52% down to 25%. But again, as we've said all year, with any Hawks player, they're going to get ample opportunity to play week in, week out. And I think that will be the case with Mackenzie. And he's got a negative 43 break even as well, so should make bulk cash. Again, awkward high, sort of high-ish price point, 180.3k. Probably makes it a little bit hard to work him in. So if you didn't start with him, you could probably get him in, but it's really up to you, and it comes down to your budget.
Yeah. The other guy that we probably also should quickly chat about is Fergus Green, so Mackenzie's teammate, priced at 123.9k, forward eligible, break even of -12. He's had decent enough scores, I want to say. Building, he had a 33 in round 1, 49 in round 2, so it's going up. It's what we like to see. Probably sits in that nice to haves. I wouldn't probably be trading him in if you've I'd rather a Chandler. They're the same price. One's got a much better one's got a much better break even of 94 compared to Green's -12. Green will make you cash. He's a mature ager, should have decent job security, but just probably doesn't have got the scoring, as high a scoring potential as Chandler does. So yeah, worth mentioning for completeness, but probably not one to consider. You could even look at potentially trading him out to a Chandler if you had no other issues or no other options to get Chandler in.
Yeah, he was my other immediate thought outside of Chesser. If Chesser put in a blinder on the weekend, looked all right. So yeah, I don't mind that. And just for overall completeness as well, which a lot of people already have him, but Oscar Baker of the Dogs, former D, he's priced at 123.9K, and his break even is -28. He's in 45% of teams already. He scored a 43 and a 55, so hasn't really blown us away with his scoring. And
did score 100 in the preseason, so does have the ability, but
there's a scope there. But I think at that price point, there's probably better options there I'd be looking at before him, just because of the Bevo factor. Like, he's stuffing up so many players just in terms of their roles. Players going in and out of the team, McLean, Crozier, like those guys as well that we saw as options early on in the preseason. Exactly. So a bit annoying. But enough of that backtracking. Let's move on to the next, next discussion point, and it is outside of the rookies, talking about breakout contenders and moneymakers. So this is a handful of breakout contenders and moneymakers in the form of mid-prices that you should consider bringing into your team based on your structure, needs, and budget. So Liam, do you want to kick us off there?
Yes, let's kick off with Nick Daicos, priced at 502.5K, break even of 7. And he is the junior Macedonian at Marvel, and he is showing every bit of his dad's talent, and even more, if that can even be believed. The hype is indeed real for Daicos, having scored 129 and 149 to start the season, playing off halfback. He, as we have said, is the shiny toy that everyone is trying to get in. And he's just playing a traditional halfback role. He is roaming so far up the ground. He even slotted 2 classy goals on the weekend. Not only is he at the starting chain of a passage, he can also run as far to be on the end of that chain. His work rate is that insane. It hurts. It hurts that I didn't bring him in.
I know.
But again, will the tag come from opposition teams after disrespect was shown by Geelong? And I mean, Port tried the tag with what's his name? Lockie Jones.
Lockie Jones, yeah.
Didn't really work at all. But will the likes of Richmond, Brisbane, and St Kilda afford him the same after such dominant displays? It should also be noted that Richmond give away the least points to wing defenders, which is what Daicos would be classified as, out of the comp. So could be a bit of a lower score coming up, but I mean, it could still be 100 plus if they don't decide to tag.
Yeah, and Hinkley as well, it just blew up in his face. I don't know if you saw what he said on 3AW when asked about whether or not Port were going to tag Daicos, and he goes, if he plays at halfback, he'll be tagging one of our half forwards. And from what I've watched of Nick Daicos, he does not normally play on anybody at halfback normally. So yeah, I mean, that's just the way he plays. He plays off. Like, he's not a super lockdown. Like, he's an attacking defender. That's his role.
It's like the halfback. It's like
Dawson.
Yeah, exactly. It's the quarterback sort of role in a sense.
So I was a bit stupid by Hinkley, and yeah, he ate shit because of it. But yeah, I'm of the opinion that, like, and I'm probably more in hope being a non-owner, but like with every week that he's killing it more and more, surely that just means that we're closer and closer to like an opposition coach just locking him down and targeting him first and foremost, because he's not just like another stat patter like, Tom Mitchell of years gone by. He's so effective, and
he's setting up their scoring chains.
Crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have to look at the stats. I'd love to look at the stats and look at his score involvements from halfback. But it makes sense to me. If you want to lock down Collingwood, you'd lock him down. Like, lock him down, and you're stopping Collingwood from operating as well as they normally do. So that's where, to me, I think we were talking about this a little bit. Like, do you want a forward to then, like, if you have a lockdown as a forward, they're not a scoring option, but potentially this negates Collingwood's scoring option. So it kind of works. It's almost like he's a defender that plays as a forward in a sense, or like you know what I mean? Like he's an attacking player. Yeah. It's an interesting way of thinking about it, but hopefully, as a non-owner, I guess I'm just hoping that he's
hoping.
cop it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting as well, like in terms of I'm just trying to have a quick squeeze at the number of goals. I don't know if it shows in the AFL app, but like goals that they've got from turnovers, or like drives from, out of defense. So no, I couldn't find it, but I'd like to see that stat because he would be involved with the majority of those. And it all counts as SuperCoach points as well. Like just absolutely insane meters gained, all that sort of stuff. Like he's just an all-day runner. So he's just crazy, crazy stuff. But let's move on to another option, and it is Jack Zeeble. Priced at 356.4k with a break-even of negative 23. And he's, fair to say, back to his seagull halfback role that he made famous back in 2021 when he averaged 107.6 across that season. And the fact that he has solid scoring history in this same role is evidence to suggest he can pick him with confidence, knowing he'll provide solid scoring, but also be a nice stepping stone down the track to a genuine primo. But that is if he doesn't become one himself. Dun, dun, dun. That'd be a plot twist. But even more of a bonus is he will obtain defensive forward DPP status come round 6 to provide flexibility. So just another string to his bow, and something that we can all look forward to if we have him in our sides, which I do. I went early on him last week and super happy with that.
Yeah, one I'm definitely considering as well. The only concern I think is probably Hall not playing in the team at the minute. Could come back
played
in.
well on the weekend as well.
Yeah. Depends whether he's best 22. Depends whether he comes back in as a defender. Just so depends whether... I mean, we've seen them all play together in the past. I think Zeeble, that year that he was in the back line, still scored massively when Hall was there, so it's probably not too big a concern. But one just to consider. Now let's move on to my new favourite player, Will Setterfield. 348.2k, break-even of -49. Definitely the favourite player in my side at the minute because I feel like he's the only one that's actually scoring well. He has scored 99 and 147 in his last 2 games and a break-even of -49. So we should put him back in the earlier part of the episode as a rookie. He's predicted to rise 62.5k if he can score 89 this weekend. And now, as we've mentioned in previous eps, he has flashed this sort of scoring back in 2020 when he played predominantly in the engine room when at Carlton, with his last 13 games that season being scores of 88, 97, 102, 98, 115, 50, 102, 82, 141, 97, 88, 107 and 111 for an average of 98 and a 160k price rise. He is one that you should definitely be considering getting in, I think. I think his role, he's a point of difference in this Essendon midfield, and he's not going to cop tags. It's you just know that they're going to go to, it'll be Merritt or Parrish, then I don't even know, Shield probably next, and then Setterfield. He's just so far down the line, but scoring really well. And I think this week could be another good game for him because with, I guess, Ross Lyon's game plan of sort of more defensive play could create a lot of stoppages and give Setterfield some more chances to, play around the stoppage, I guess.
I like it. Yeah, he's definitely one that I'm trying desperately to bring into my side. But I'm glad at least one of us has him, Liam. And you were big on him. So kudos to you as well. So yeah, I'm harping back to that 2020. I'm going back in time. I remember when I was in the tram after one of those games. I think it was against Adelaide, and he absolutely tore them a new arsehole, to put it lightly. And I was like, this is it. This is like the breakout year. And he went on to perform well. And then the next season, the coach was like, we'll just put him on the wing, put him at half forward, put him in defence. So dumb. So I'm really glad, just as a player anyway, to see him go well because he deserves it, even if it is at the Dons. I'll let it slide. But let's move on to the next player that you could consider, and it is Darcy Cameron, and he's priced at 465.9k with a break-even of 24. So he started the season on fire, posting scores of 103 and 137, and the ample time he is being afforded in the ruck is part of that reason in the uptick in scoring. After posting an equaling career best 68% in round 1, he then elevated that to an outright career best of 72% in round 2. And with Gawn's injury now counting him out of forward DPP eligibility and being one of the top 6 scoring forwards that we're hoping for, does this now elevate Cameron into that position and into that same conversation? which we're kind of having during the preseason fleetingly until we thought, oh, okay, well, Gawn's going to play more time at forward. He's going to get forward DPP. And that was sort of part of the reason why I know we discussed it in terms of why we didn't select Darcy Cameron, was because he wasn't going to be a top 2 ruck and he wasn't going to be a top 6 forward. So this is really something that I think a lot of people need to consider now longer term when it comes to potentially bringing in Darcy Cameron.
Yep. It's really, really frustrating because I think we both considered him in the preseason. I think his ruck split with Cox concerned us. And now is getting career best, ruck contests week in, week out.
Yeah,
and it's frustrating, very frustrating. But I do like it. I don't mind. I mean, if you've got Gawn, I definitely don't mind down to Cameron and free up bank cash.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like bulk cash, and then you could upgrade pretty much. You probably would go Jones to a Daicos potentially.
Daicos, yeah.
Which I like. 2 very good scorers there. Yeah, I think he should definitely be one that you're considering if you can afford him. He's very awkwardly priced though, 465.9k. I don't know where you'd find the cash to upgrade to him if you didn't have an injury to a ruckman.
Yep.
But yeah, I like the strategy. I like considering him as much as I would have liked to have considered him before. But let's move on to Luke Davies-Uniacke. Next cab off the rank, 557.4k, break even of 18. He has averaged 113 in the last 11 games of 2022 and already lifted his game up another notch early in 2023 with a 143 and a 155 across the first 2 games. He is a tackling and contested possession machine, which provides a very nice scoring floor. And it's his sound kicking that provides him with ultimate consistency. 32 disposals at 78% in round 1. And 30 disposals at 83% in round 2. He is underpriced due to being subbed out for a shoulder injury and a head knock in round 2 last season. So it's fair to say we may never see him at this low price again, especially with his current break even being 18 and one that I am considering this week.
Likewise as well, at the expense of the unfortunately injured Steele. Absolute gun. And underpriced, like he should be, like retailers, as they say, this is going to be flying out the door. This is literally, LDU should be flying out the door. All types of LDU. Get him in your side if you can. If you're in my situation with Jack Steele, or I actually don't mind yours, Liam, as well with McRae. Probably an exception to the rule in terms of trading up primos, and probably Sean Darcy as well, but he's obviously in a different line. But going for someone like this who has shown enough the back end of last year, and already he's shown that he's taken his game again up another notch, and he's going to be a primo of years to come. And he's already established himself, I think, as a primo alongside Tom Green. He's in the same conversation. So, yeah, I'd get him in if you can. Absolutely.
He is the third most traded in player at this stage of before next round. 10.9% of teams have traded him in. Sits behind Will Setterfield and Nick Daicos.
Interesting. Well, there you go. He is hot property.
Yes.
So for good reason. And let's round out this category with someone who is going to make it again, bit of money. It's James Worpel. He's priced at 309.3k with a break even of -21. He's proved the doubters wrong with a solid showing across his first 2 games of the season with scores of 97 and 99. And with a break-even of -21, he will make bank if he can maintain his scoring, despite Hawthorn's struggling on-field performances. That's probably the one other caveat, like we've spoken ad nauseum about his disposal efficiency letting him down from a SuperCoach standpoint. He's no doubt still going to score well in AFL Fantasy, but from a SuperCoach perspective, I think, these disposal efficiency, but then also the fact that the Hawks are going to find it awfully, awfully hard, as we've seen already in the first couple of games of the season, to really win games. So he's going to have to defy the overall performance of Hawthorn's team and still score well, which he is doing at the moment to his credit. So he is one to think about potentially at that price point. A little bit cheaper, 39k or thereabouts cheaper than Setterfield. But having said that, between the two, if you got the cash, go for Setterfield. Absolutely.
Yep. Faces North, Geelong, GWS, Adelaide, Western Bulldogs, Freo, Melbourne, West Coast in the next 7 or so games. So just, not a tough run, but not an easy run either, I would say. But I feel like there's no easy run for Hawthorn the way they're playing at the minute. But that's it. Rounds us out.
Yeah, nice.
Love it.
Good.
Love it.
Very
Love
good.
those options. Love those options. Let's move on to the next segment, and that is, Damon, I'm the captain now.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
Yes.
Well, Liam.
You're gonna show us something?
So I'm just gonna put something on. There we go, on top of my headphones. Look at this. I'm gonna wear it on the side. I feel like Steamboat Willie.
Oh yes, there we go.
It's not working at all with headphones on. But I'll just perch on top of my noggin. But what happens in On the Captain Now, Liam, for those that are tuning in for the first time and seeing me, if you're listening to this on the podcast, by the way, and you didn't tune into the YouTube, make sure you do so, because you'll be able to check out the little prop that we have going for this segment. And it is the I'm the Captain Now hat. And Liam, what is this segment?
Yes, in I'm the Captain Now, we run through the VC and C options that you've got for the upcoming round of SuperCoach. And as always, we scrounge the data and we find the best options for you to consider. But why, Damon, are you wearing the hat?
Just because I like wearing this stylish looking hat that still has the tag on the back, by the way, as well.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Isn't that the thing nowadays? Young kids leave stickers on their hats.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
This is like the next level, just leaving the tag.
The
So
tag
that's the style at the time. So obviously what's happening is we're having a bit of a head-to-head each week, naming who we think is going to be the best captaincy option. And last week, I went for that oink oink pink sweaty pig that is Clary Oliver. And you went for...
the Bond. I don't know how else to describe him.
The Bond. And should we go through now, or should we leave it to the end?
We'll touch on that later.
Yeah, okay.
You can wear the hat. Wear the hat all this for this whole segment. And then we can explain it.
I don't know if this is a victory or a punishment wearing this thing.
Well, wearing it over your headphones probably doesn't help.
Yeah, exactly. Probably doesn't help at all.
Let's jump into the vice captaincy options. So these are guys who play earlier on in the round, and some of them are a little bit more risky. But we'd like to take a little bit of a risk with our vice captaincy option. So we'll kick off first up with a player that didn't get me the win last week, and that is Marcus Bontempelli. And he comes up against Brisbane Lions on Thursday at 7:20 at Marvel Stadium. And he has an average of 115.25 in his last 4 games against the Lions. Scores of 108, 116, 138, and 99. And just to note, he has a 166 if we extend that out to 5 games. So could be in for a big one.
It could be. Like I noted last week, I was like, oh, you're going for Bond this week. I was looking forward. That's because you both stuffed up and didn't look forward to because as part of those people tuning in for the first time that didn't tune in last week, as part of the rules is when you choose a captaincy option, you can't choose them in the following week.
Yeah.
So now you can't choose Bont and I can't choose Clary, but I'm happy with that. And we'll find out why. Well, we've just found out with Bont. So he's a nice little option. But another nice little option, potentially, is Josh Dunkley, but it's a bit of an unknown. So he's on the other side of the fence here for the first time against the Dogs, his former side. And, no real data to go off, but you'd think he's going to be in for a big one. He's going to want to prove himself. The Doggies players probably want to get into him, all that sort of hoopla. As we know, they give him a bit of rough and tumble.
All that theatrics.
But I reckon Dunks could potentially be in for a big one. So keep that in mind.
Don't mind it as a VC.
We should do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind it as a VC because I think there's some good C options. And I don't mind him as the VC. Just a little bit of a contrary pick. Could be a bit of a pod captaincy option, VC option. Moving on, and it is the man of the hour, Nick Daicos, comes up against Richmond on Friday at 7:50 at the MCG, and has only played against the Tigers on one occasion for a score of 80. However, his 2-round average of 139 says he should be in calculations for an early VC if you have him. With that being said, Richmond are actually the stingiest side, as we said, for points to opposition wing defenders, of which Daicos would be classified. So could he be in for a bit of a lower score this week?
Hopefully. As an non-owner, hopefully.
Yeah.
That'll help us.
Again, as a VC, I'd reckon take the risk.
Exactly.
Seriously,
Why not?
I'd do it if I had him.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I reckon Dimmer's very similar to like a Chris Scott. Probably more so. It's just like, okay, we'll back in the quality that we've got in the park to just get it done as a team instead of targeting just one player. So, but who knows? I mean, off the back of 2 superstar-like games, the Daicos. Yeah, but it's a good gamble, I think, to take. Could be a bit of a contrarian, as you said, selection. But there might be other people jumping on as well, but who knows? But another option is Luke Davies-Uniacke, and he faces the Hawks on Saturday at 1:45 p.m. at UTAS. And he's averaged 97 in his last 4 against the Hawks, with scores of 125, 105, 94, and 64, but has a season average of 149 in his last 2 games against... last 2 games overall, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, this season. Yep.
This season. Yep. Just I was reading into that too much. But yeah, I mean that's something to hang your hat on, Liam, if you had one. Oh no, wait, you do have one. But if you have a captain's hat to hang your hat on,
yes.
But
what? It's not a pirate hat.
It's not a pirate hat. I don't know what I'm doing.
The one thing I think with George
Captain.
LDU is the potential McGuinness tag.
Yes.
Does McGuinness go to him? So it's a risk. Simpkins obviously not playing. I don't even know who else he could go to in that side at this stage. So LDU could be facing that. I don't think off memory, I didn't see the game, but from what I understand, McGuinness didn't tag in the Sydney game. He did tag Merritt for, I think, the first half in the Essendon game. So has tagged this year. But yeah, just one to consider, I guess, whether he does go to LDU and limit his scoring ability. But as a VC, again, probably worth the risk. Moving on to the captaincy options. So these are a little bit later in the week, so later in the weekend. So these starts from Saturday night at 7:30 at Adelaide Oval. It is Rory Laird against Port Adelaide. Did me wonders last week as the VC, so could be a C this time. He has an average of 117.5 in his last 4 games against the Power, with scores of 93, 133, 125, and 119. And that 93 was his return game last season when he started the season after injury, and was only one of 2 times that he dropped below 100 for the year. And that second drop below 100 was a 97 in, I think, round 22. So, pretty decent scoring average there if you consider that the 93 is unders.
Yeah.
So one to consider, I think, probably a relatively safe, a safe option for your VC. For your C if you need one.
And if you're looking for a captaincy option in a head-to-head, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Maybe something to consider.
Yeah, wait and see what you've got, Liam. But the other option was the Pink Sweaty Pig, and was the option last week for myself. He faces Sydney this weekend on Sunday at 3:20 p.m. at the G, and he's averaged 119 in his last 4 games against the Swans, with scores of 134, 125, 130, and 87. So maybe I should have kept him for this week. Oh, well.
So maybe
got the job done last
better
week.
Average than Marcus Bontempelli. Maybe I should take him this week.
Yes, maybe.
Maybe I was the one looking ahead.
Maybe just by pure chance and luck.
No, I looked ahead.
Oh yeah, yeah. As did I.
Sean Darcy is our next option, and he comes very left field, playing West Coast on Sunday at 5:20 at Optus Stadium. He plays in the last game, which I know some people don't like to captain anyone in the final game of the round, which I don't know. I've never done it, but I never considered that I don't do it until you raised it last year, and I realized that I don't do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. But anyway, he's probably the most left field option that we've got on this list today. And it is because Darcy has an incredible average in his last 2 against the Eagles, with scores of 155 and 150. The Eagles also give away the most points to opposition ruckmen of all teams in the comp this year. It is a ballsy move, but it could pay off massively if he does score around that 150, 155 mark. It's tough. I don't know if I can do it, but I'd love to see someone do it.
Yeah, it's living dangerously. I mean, the matchup is there. Like, it's, as you say, it's makes sense, but Yeah, maybe he'll be my captaincy option. I don't know. But speaking of which, Liam, shall we get into it?
Yes, let's get into it. So just I guess a quick recap. As we spoke about last week, we've kicked off a bit of a running captaincy game where we select a viable captaincy option for the community and and then we see who scores better, and we keep a tally, a bit of a running tally, head-to-head, and a total points tally as well. So Damon last week selected Oliver, and I took Bunt, as we mentioned, and obviously you got the chockies there, Damon, with by just 10 points in the end. Just 10 points.
Yeah, it was close.
Very, very well done, sir.
Thank you, sir. Tip of the captain's cap to you.
Captain, I should tell you.
Aye, Captain Birdseye. Arr. See, he was a pirate, wasn't he? I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Was he? Yeah, I think he was. But yeah, he was a cap, but he was a pirate. Like Captain Jack Sparrow. He's a captain.
He's a captain. Yeah, exactly.
But he's not like I don't know, this type of captain. I don't know what sort of captain wears this hat.
Exactly right. Not you anyway for this week. That's the main thing. Oh, Barb's. Not of the Carlton variety. Those people who know Barb, the old Carlton supporter. But yes, Liam, you have the choice this week because we are alternating selections. So who are you going to be going with? And remember, like we said, you can't pick the same player as last week.
I am going to go with.
What are you going for?
Who?
I was thinking you're going to go for Clary, but no. I think the safest is Rory Laird.
Very good. I am going with the ever reliable Rory Laird this week.
Yeah.
What about you, Damon?
Well, the only reason I say that is because I would have gone for Rory Laird as well. Super safe option, but I'm going to be going with my VC option for this week as my C option because you've taken my C. And it is the man who you chose last week in Bont, the Bont.
Take my man.
So I've taken your man. So hopefully he delivers for me this week, as he didn't for you last week. So we'll see what happened there. But just to summarize, so yes, someone actually did. I forget to mention who the person's name was that suggested this. I don't know if I can pull him up. Actually, I might. Did you want to just roll through I might quickly pull up.
I'll run through the head-to-head so far. So as we said last week, you took Oliver, who scored 135. I took Bont, who scored 125, giving you the win. Obviously, this is the first week that we've done this, and you've got a plus 10 advantage over me in terms of points. Yes,
so it was Simon Pullen. We'll give him a bit of a shout out. Thank you, Simon. He gave us a little bit of constructive feedback, which is good. A little bit of an idea, which we liked. He said, hey guys, great pod. Like the idea of pick a captain each week. What about adding the points up of who you pick as an accumulated score instead of just the win or lose? It might add a bit of anticipation for each week. So thanks again for the kind words there, Simon, and for the recommendation, because we are doing that.
It adds a bit of, I like it because it adds a bit of strategy as well. Like, I could pick someone like an LDU who's got a big, could have a big ceiling, but also could hurt you if he doesn't score as well. So like you kind of got to think about you know what I mean? You could go someone you could go someone that's steady, like I don't know who's particularly steady at this stage.
Like an Oliver's usually steady.
Normally scores at least 125. Like a Steele normally would have a really good floor, but you could choose someone with a high ceiling to make sure you can make up some points as well.
So that's true.
That's a bit of danger. I like it.
And we all know that you would like to live dangerously. So nice. So thank you for that recommendation there. Yes. But something to look forward to each and every week.
Hey, I got to know.
And now we'd be normally throwing to our usual, Liam, last week. There wasn't any feedback, which I'm surprised with, mind you, because I gave a little bit of feedback just as I listened to it live, which it was a touch of creepiness, a dash of sultriness, which was weird. I don't know how that came through, but I got that. I caught it. It was coming right at me, and I caught it with both hands.
Maybe you were the only one that had an issue with it. Maybe everyone else liked it.
Maybe, but I do refer to your rendition of. I can't even emulate this, but it was like, I got to know. So anyway, for those of you tuning in for the first time, you have no idea what I got to know is. It's our usual Q&A segment, which we normally throw to at this stage, but this week we thought we'd do a little bit differently because we're going to team up with the Loose Cannons at SuperCoachMasters and put our collective minds together to help answer your questions in a very special edition bonus episode. So if you're keen to have, I guess have us chat through any conundrums, questions you may have for us, feel free to reply to our call out, which we will put out on Twitter by the time you listen or watch this episode, and we'll happily feature it on the episode. So I feel like it's a good introduction to the guys as well, if you're not familiar with their work. And I guess likewise for any of their viewers slash listeners as well as an introduction to us. So we'll be chatting also through the trade options for those, unfortunately, are the owners of the injured Gawn and Steele, along with a couple of other trade out options, and discussing the changed landscape, which we referred to earlier in terms of the forward primos, with Gawn's injury now ruling him out of the expected forward ruck DPP, which we were hoping for. So look out for that bonus collaboration hitting YouTube over the coming days.
Yes, I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, should be good fun. I think we it was pretty much like a what do we call it? Like what's the term for when you is it like a cold release? You know, when someone like has like a partner, like a new girlfriend, new boyfriend or whatever, and they announce them on social media. Is it like a soft launch?
Soft launch, yeah.
That was our soft launch a couple of episodes back. We were like, we're doing a little collaboration with the SuperCoach Masters, so that will be coming up over the coming days. So make sure you give that a bit of a watch on YouTube, and might release it as a podcast as well potentially. So we'll see how we go there. Or maybe just make it a YouTube exclusive. Who knows? Just see how it goes. But
there we go.
Let's, before we throw to our outro, wrap up for our SuperCoach Edge. For the first time this season, the SuperCoach Edge Cup group results for round 2.
Yes.
Actually, second time, sorry.
Second time for this one. Yes. Highest overall ranking for this round, well, overall now, is Puzzles. There's the team name.
Yeah.
For Shia. Sorry, I'm butchering a name. Who is number
Shia?
1 in the group. Yes, I'm sorry.
Butter? Shea butter? Is that
Yeah.
it? I don't use this stuff. I promise.
Anyway, let's move on to their score, which was 2,351. Massive score there. And they have an overall ranking of 93 in the whole of the comp. And in terms of our Patreon exclusive SuperCoach Edge Cash League, our first round of head-to-heads kicked off on the weekend with the following results. Damon, do you want to run through them?
Yes, so it was Carps Crushers. Wade's team took the chocolates over Dylan's Popper Ball FC. We have the Sharpshooters in Brett beat the Tankers. Pete's team. We have
by 3 points.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Should mention that. Yeah, 3 points. And the previous match was by 11 points. So, Jesus.
Very close.
Except for this one here.
Oh, boy.
It's just struck close to home here. And it's Matthew's team, Ton 618, beating your side, Church of Paris, 2,282 to 2,140. So 142 difference there. But
that hurt.
It does hurt. And hurts me as well because I ended up losing as well. So how's about that? The two hosts, not victorious in the first week of head-to-heads. I got beaten by Scott Arthur's team, Black on White, who scored 2,292 against my 2,200 even on the dot. So that's pretty much where we sit at the moment. And on top we have Black on White, Scott Arthur, and all the other winners there. So yeah, it's probably too early to go through all the machinations of the ladder, but that's about it, isn't it?
Yep. And that brings us to the end of the show. But before we go, let's just run through the socials for the listeners, Damon.
Yes, so on YouTube, search SuperCoach Edge, and don't forget, of course, to like and subscribe. We're trying to boost the subscriber numbers, and they've stagnated really badly on YouTube. Having said that, though, our listenership for season 2023 is absolutely through the roof. Like, it's to the moon. Absolutely to the moon. We actually cracked 1.3K listens for last week's episode as of yesterday, I think it was. So absolutely insane, you guys and girls out there tuning in. So thank you so much. But if you can do us one little favor, if you can jump across to YouTube, give us a subscribe. You don't necessarily need to like, but just subscribe because we want to bump up the subscription numbers, because when we hit the 1K mark, we'll absolutely stop pestering you to throw us loose change. We won't be holding signs out in the street saying, we'll drop pans for money.
Krusty, are you making any money?
Nah, that guy's giving it away for free.
Old grey mare, she ain't what she used to be. Ain't what she used to be. Ain't what she used to be.
If you can help us out there with subscriptions, that would be perfect. But if not, that's all good as well. But anyway, you can also hit us up on Twitter at @supercoach_edge. You can find myself at DamoJ88 and Liam at LiamEvans_95. And then on Facebook and TikTok, just search SuperCoach Edge.
Yes,
well,
very
then,
nice.
That is it. So it's time to prepare for price changes and make those last switches to set your side before they come into effect next week. It's always a bit of fun, but a bit of frenetic fun, if that. So it's a crazy, crazy time. But I don't know. It's almost like you're choosing between who your favorite kid is. Virtually, I don't have kids, but it's like choosing between your Setterfields, or are you choosing between I don't know who else is there, a Zeeble maybe.
It's easy.
I don't know.
Setters.
Setters. It's in his name, isn't it? Set and forget a field.
It's Setterfield.
Well, with that, let's sign off there. We've hit a high note. All the best for the round ahead, and we'll catch you same time and same place. See you then.
See you guys.
I didn't take off this bloody hat. I've worn it for the rest of the episode. What an idiot.